We've asked one of our program managers who heads up our youth program, which is really the flagship of our work. We currently operate in about just under 50 communities across the province with youth clubs. And Obakeng Kgatshe runs this program with the intention by 2029, the centenary of Ahmed Kathrada's birth, she will deliver 100 youth clubs, no pressure onto her, fully functional training grounds for young Democrats who will take forward the work and the legacy of Ahmed Kathrada. Obakeng, over to you.
Thank you. I get the pressure. It's fine. Dumelang. My name is Obakeng Kgatshe, and yes, I serve as the Youth Activism Program Manager at the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. I will try to keep it to below 8 minutes, as I've been given. I think it was such a difficult task, so I get a text message to say, can you reflect on what you think Kathy would have said to political parties that are contesting elections? And I'm like, yo, who do I even start? But then, guided by some of his speeches, articles, and interviews that he did, I thought, let me try and put it in a summary. So in 2012, Uncle Kathy received an honorary doctorate degree from the University of the Witwatersrand. And in his acceptance speech, he said, I quote, "I have a humble plea to all of you who are graduating today and leaving the university. You will be going into the world full of numerous challenges. When employing your newly acquired skills and expertise, please remember the responsibility that comes with success. There is the very important responsibility to the country. You are no doubt aware that South Africa is in dire need of skills and expertise in every direction. Without these, our country will not be able to make the progress that it needs in order to face the challenges before us." Taking from these words, I think what Uncle Kathy would have said here today is that post-elections we need to understand the responsibilities that come with leading. That is for any political party that will be given the authority to govern this country or the province. So when you win the elections and the people of this country employ you to govern, remember the responsibilities that come with that authority. To parties that might not make it into government, consider how you can use your skills and expertise to contribute towards building a better South Africa. This sad culture of politicians spending 80% or more of their time playing the blame game and not proposing solutions must come to an end. At the core of the AKF's youth department, like Mr. B said, is engaging young people in different communities at a grassroots level. I know many of you here would use the word groundwork, so that is our groundwork. And we have a presence in about 48 communities in Gauteng alone, and that is where we are currently. When we go and engage these young people and do our civic education workshops and talk about voting and participating in democratic processes, at the core of what they say, and I think many might think that, and I hear a lot when I engage with people who have not had conversations with young people, they have an assumption that young people are not interested, they are disengaged, they do not understand. But hear me when I say what these young people say in those workshops is that they know very well what's happening in this country. They just feel not represented. They feel that no one is listening to them. And by deciding not to go to the voting polls during elections is making a political statement to say, none of you represent me. The ballot does not represent them and their needs as a majority in this country, and that's a sad reality. We only see political parties in our different communities during elections. What stops politicians from engaging communities post-elections? Aside. I think what Katie would say to those contesting is that instead of going around now and cleaning up streets for votes, I was saying earlier to a colleague that just this morning as I woke up, I saw comrades of a particular political party get up to go and clean a certain dumping site in my area. And as I looked at them, I wondered, so we do this now until May, what happens after May? And so we wait again until 2026 or 2029. Sad reality. What I think political parties should be doing is going into these communities even post-elections, not to clean up because that's not what you're hired to do, but to have conversations with communities to say, these are the people who are responsible for cleaning up your areas, and this is how you hold them accountable for it. Engage communities on understanding how government works. Engage communities on understanding who to call and who to hold accountable for the mess that is not cleaned up. Because how do you think these communities survive in the 5 years that you are not there engaging them? In the 5 years that you are making statements and calling the press to say all sorts of things and gossip for hours in front of our screens. The same way, many are all over Alexander, Tembisa, Hammanskraal, and Soweto now. It's the same way they should do it post-elections, to engage communities and encourage them to participate in processes like the IDP and others, so that the process of strengthening democracy in our country is a collective one that includes the people. We need to send a message and remind you that these people who go out and vote are imploring you to serve them. And you should never at any moment feel superior than them, because at the end of the day, it's Mutashik. In reflecting on 30 years of democracy, I read an article Kathy wrote on threats to democracy and was caught by a line that said, opposition parties have been and still are the established ingredient of all democracies. They exist under the protection of the Constitution and should be dealt with accordingly. Politicians should not be enemies, but structures competing for an opportunity to serve better. You need to find ways to talk and find each other in spaces and say, how do we make it better? Sure, I did not win the 2024 elections, but between 2024 and 2026, what am I doing to contribute? The people of this country are withdrawing from participating in democratic processes because all we see is politicians fighting for power. Is it power for who will have access to the next big tender, or a genuine edge to serve? Again, a size. But surely Uncle Kathy and many others would want us to work towards a political landscape defined by accountability, integrity, and a steadfast commitment to the well-being of all citizens. And in closing, in the words of Uncle Kathy, we dare not for a moment forget that there is no dignity in poverty, hunger, and unemployment. I implore you, as we go into the 2024 elections and work towards protecting and strengthening our democracy in this 30 years that we are celebrating our democracy, again in his words, that may you all wake up daily and strive towards ensuring that we reach a point where we can only be satisfied and happy when every child wakes up in a warm house, has a good nutritious breakfast, is able to say a loving goodbye to both working parents or guardians, goes to school in safe and reliable transport, is met at school by teachers who are competent and ready to deliver, can walk back home guided by street lights that are on, will have a nourishing supper in the company of both parents or guardians, will enjoy being read to by either parent, will be able to make the best use of all the life opportunities that a free South Africa has to offer, without a fear, South Africa that is free of crime, corruption, rape, greed, crass opportunism. A South Africa where there is a guarantee there will never ever be another London.